This is Jonathan Yates. Let's talk the culture of sports with Bob Culver, the county executive for Wicomico County, and Steve Miller, the director of recreation and parks. Gentlemen, thank you for taking the time today.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Now, my family's been vacationing on the Eastern Shore since we moved to Maryland. And there's just something special about driving over the Bay Bridge. You know, your whole mood changes. What makes Eastern Shore so special that it can, make you feel so much better just crossing the bridge?
We have a very relaxed atmosphere here. We have it will happen when it needs to happen sort of attitude. And we don't push it. It's kind of laid back. Everybody knows that when they go to Ocean City, they come through Wicomico County and they enjoy the farmland. It's much more peaceful. You get to see green fields, forestry, that type of thing.
Mr. Miller, what do you think it is? You're from Rhode Island, so
Yes,
did you notice a change when you moved here?
I did. The way of life, like Mr. Culver said, is just a pleasant way of life here. I think people are obviously drawn to the beach and to the shore and all the different attractions that we have in this area. But I think we've seen over the years, folks coming to Wicomico County for events or different festivals and things that we run, that folks like to come here, they like to come back, and we draw. With certain events, we draw from all over the country, so we feel like this is a pretty special place.
Now that tells me what makes the Eastern Shore so special, but when you drive over the Vienna Bridge, there's that sign that says Wicomico County is one of the 100 best communities for young persons. What makes Wicomico County so special for young persons?
We have a lot of activities, a lot of sports activities that people love to have their kids in. From soccer, we have a strong program in parks and recreation in Wicomico County. And we realize that the kids are very important to us and their athletics is just as important to them, so we try to push that hard.
Now, coming from Rhode Island, do you agree that Wicomico County is one of the 100 best communities for young persons?
Absolutely. We've settled here. We love it here on the shore. And I think, Mr. Culver touched on it, the quality of life is what we emphasize in our department. When you look at a community of our size, we have a Civic Center arena, 6,000-seat arena where we can bring in shows and concerts. We have great parks facilities. We have water for fishing. It's just a great place to raise a family and to live. And so, again, as far as being the top 100 places to live as far as young people go, there's everything here that you could want. And it's not surprising that that's the case.
Now, you did very well at the awards ceremony for the Maryland Department of Recreation and Parks. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. We received 3 marketing awards. We have an internal marketing department within Recreation, Parks, and Tourism. They're fantastic. They've won awards every year, but this year we received 3 awards as far as that goes, promoting all the different activities that we have in the county.
And is that helping bringing in tournaments, things like that, into the county?
It's part of the picture as far as our ability to market ourselves. But we also have a sports marketing team through our tourism department that goes out to trade shows and recruits event organizers to bring them here to the county. And over the years, we've built up a reputation now that we're operating now, though we're a small county on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, we're operating on a national level, recruiting national events to come play here, and we've built up a track record now over the years.
Now, who are some of the big names we would recognize?
So USSSA is a multi-sport national organization, but they run their annual Eastern World Series, softball World Series. That's grown over the years. We're now going to enter our 12th year in that event. Started out with around 30 teams, and now we're the largest girls softball tournament in the United States. Right here on the shore.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, and that's grown over years, and we grew with the event. We partner with Ocean City and Worcester County to make that happen. As far as being able to accommodate something of that size, you need extra hotel rooms, extra ball fields, and so we formed regional partnerships to be able to leverage not just what the county has, but what the entire Lower Eastern Shore has to be able to sell these events and bring people here.
What are the major assets that the county has that, if I was head of the Wood and Bat Association for their big event, why would I want to come here?
I think a big part is the facilities. Certainly we have first-class facilities that I think people like to play at. The Henry Parker Complex is our premier facility. We've just invested $3 million to add additional ball fields out there in that facility. So that's a big part of it. But I think probably what sets us apart from anybody is the level of service that we can offer to these events. A lot of times when you go to a certain place to run an event, they'll give you a rental rate and they'll show you to the fields and that's about it. But we work hand in hand with the organizers to try to create a first-class experience, from planning and opening ceremonies at our minor league stadium or at the Civic Center, to the check-in process, to the off-the-field activities. We have activities in restaurants and local businesses. And we try to create an experience, a memory that these kids will have and their families when they come here. With travel sports, it's often a family vacation for people. So while they're playing during the day, they're looking for things to do in the evening or after a day off.
We can't beat the Eastern Shore for that.
You can't, and so we try to leverage all that together to create an experience. So the things on the field are certainly important, but their experience is much bigger than that. And we have great partners in the hotels that are part of that experience to really give first-class hospitality.
Now, leadership like that comes from the top. Mr. Culver, how involved do you get in this process of attracting the big events here?
Well, we have a great team at Steve does at Parks, Recreation, Tourism. My part is to be able to help fund it, keep it going with what we need to do, keep being able to be creative. Like you said, we just spent $3 million on the Henry S. Parker ball fields, and that alone will bring us probably another tournament in here. We're looking at Little League tournaments also. So our fields that we've just created will not only do softball, but we'll also do Little League. So we're trying to expand that. We're expanding anything from fishing tournaments, which will bring a certain group of people in here. So we have great fishing in the Bay and in the Tangier Sound. So whatever we can do to get people to come and enjoy us, we do. And several years ago, I used to go out to the fields and watch people and talk to them and that type of thing and found out what they wanted. By doing that, I've learned what they want when they come here, and some of them have come back to vacation here and to use that as a vacation spot. So we want to become a destination, and that's my job, to be able to help create those facilities for that.
Is there anything they wanted that surprised you?
No, they want what we do. And that's just the quality of life, the laid back, being able to enjoy the rivers, enjoy the bays, that type of thing, and enjoy the beauty that we have in Wicomico County.
Now, it's obvious you're winning in terms of bringing in the economic development with the national tournaments, but you're also into good sports. How about the first inaugural Good Sports Award banquet on January 31st? How did that go?
Been great, and that's Steve's credit for that, because he organized that and put that together. But we had a great turnout, and we were able to thank a lot of our volunteers, and that's what's important too. We don't only do this through paid. We have a lot of volunteers that help us a great deal. So Steve can tell you more about them.
What I want to hear the most is when I looked at the ads for it, I saw no tickets would be sold at the door. That's amazing that you had to sell out for the inaugural event.
Yeah, we didn't know what to expect in the first year, and we had over 200 people come. And I think one of the goals of that event, one of the successes of it, was we really tried to open up the tent as far as the message of good sports and sportsmanship and participation in sports for youth is such an important one. And we do our part as far as the county goes with county programs, but there are other private nonprofits that do similar things, Salvation Army, YMCA, private organizations. And so that event, we invited every youth sports organization to participate, because whether they play for a county program or some other program in the county, we feel like it's important that the message of good sports gets out there. And we were thrilled that we got the level of participation. We had 18 organizations from the county participate. I think we'll get more in the future. I think this was a first time, and we were thrilled with the turnout and the enthusiasm that went into that event. And we're certainly hopeful that the event, but also the message of good sports, will continue to grow over the years.
I saw that part of the good sports core values. What are they?
So the core values, number one is fun. We believe that kids primarily play sports. Certainly some go on to play college, pro, those types of things. But primarily kids play to have fun in sports. NASC just did a study, National Association of Sports Commissions. They did a study, and they said by the age of 12, 70% of the kids that quit sports by the age of 12 quit because it's not fun anymore.
Right.
And so to me, that's just basic. It's got to be fun, so that's number one. Second is we want to build community. We feel like sports is just a really unique avenue to build relationships and community between coaches and players and families. It's just a unique opportunity you have in sports. Thirdly, sportsmanship. We see so many negative examples of that when you watch television, and those you hear the horror stories of bad behavior with coaches and players and those types of things. And we feel like a core value in playing youth sports is sportsmanship. Is learning how to win, learning how to lose, learning how to handle yourself, because all those things that you learn in sports, I played sports all my life, and all those things are principles you can apply to your life and how to handle yourself. And then lastly, our fourth core value is skill development. We think kids should have fun and build relationships, all those positive things, but we also want them to learn. whatever sport it is that they're playing. We feel like it's important to develop skills, fundamental skills. And so as a county, we're now joining a national organization to provide coaches training for our volunteer coaches. Many times the experience that a youth will have in a sport is largely dependent on the coach. And so we want to train our coaches and equip our coaches to be able to provide that experience. And we feel like, again, whether it's a county program or some other entity in the county, we want to lift up all youth in our area to be able to enjoy sports. Because, you know, I'm an example of that as far as the values and the friendships and the things that I gained from sports over the years have helped me for a lifetime. And we want to give that opportunity to others.
That must be very rewarding from one who was an athlete to see the next generation embrace his core values.
It is, and it's fun. We've got a great staff, as Mr. Culver said. We've got a lot of young professionals in our recreation staff who have embraced this. I've got young children who are going to be involved in these programs. They've got young children involved. And so when you see the momentum and the positive energy that we got for this first time event, 200 plus people, 18 organizations, you see that start to take root and people start to rally. And, you know, it's so natural for people to focus on the negative, and what we're trying to do our best is to turn the narrative and to focus on the positive. And here's the value that sports can bring. Here's the positives that it can bring, and we want to model that and certainly encourage that.
Now, when you talk positives about the Eastern Shore, the outdoor activities are obviously huge. They're unparalleled. You have a 10-week summer camp at Pemberton Park. How active is that?
It's been fantastic. We've maxed that camp out the last several years. We've got great staff out there for nature camp. It's just a unique camp experience that you're not going to get. Pemberton is a historical park, but it's also got water and a lot of environmental education opportunities out there. In fact, we're actually going to be remodeling one of the rooms to try to expand that program to include probably 10 more children this summer.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, it's a program that's been growing over the years, and it's another unique opportunity. You've got sports camps and regular type camps, but this environmental camp certainly unique for children.
And what's it like when they experience the outdoors for the first time?
Oh, I think it's great. My son registered for it several years ago and just loved it. They got to look at snakes and all sorts of different creatures.
Was he allowed to bring it home?
No, he was not. He would not. Mom would not allow that to happen. But no, it's fantastic. They could just get exposed to different opportunities and different things, and it's just one of the many unique opportunities we have.
One of the things that through Steve's leadership we've been able to do is we'll have festivals and different events throughout the year. The money that we've made off those have gone to help pay for the kids to go to these camps, and that makes it those financially challenged families that cannot afford to send their kids to camp. We don't take that as a stumbling block. We go ahead and make it available to everybody, and that's where we feel it's going to help the county, because children that are involved in sports or involved through camps don't seem to be your problem children, either in school or on the streets. So we're trying to set up for the future long term.
And Mr. Culver, do you think that commitment to helping others and helping children is attracting more people to Wicomico County?
Certainly. I've always been a strong believer a community is judged by how it takes care of its children and its elderly. So we're very strong in both of those categories, and we're very proud of that.
Now, in terms of the festivals you have, I mean, do the elderly enjoy the wine festival?
Very much so. We do very well with our wine festival and our beer festival, our craft beer festival. So yes, they are one of the largest money makers we have during the year. So some of those are put on the wine group, put on the wine festival. But yeah, it does very well for us. And at the same time, it brings a lot of people to Wicomico County from all over the eastern coast. I mean, they come up from Carolinas, from Virginia, down from Washington D.C. to just enjoy a day. About every third year we'll get a bad day, but the other two weeks or 2 years are just fabulous. I mean, it's beautiful down here on the shore when you get a crisp fall day, and you can't beat it.
What's the pumpkin tour like? I noticed that under one of the festivals.
Yeah, Pumpkin Tour is just finished its second year, and so what we do is at Pemberton Park they've got a trail system, and folks decorate pumpkins and put them out throughout the trails, and we light up the trails. That event started 2 years ago. We had about 300 people, and this past year we had about 1,000 people. So it's really grown to be popular. I think it's going to be another one of our signature events in the fall, and we're really excited. Pemberton Park is a really unique location for those festivals, the wine and beer, but this pumpkin tour is something that we're certainly excited about.
And I mean, is Pemberton Park one of those unknown gems of Maryland that people just drive past when they go to the beach?
Well, you would have to get off the highway to see it, but it's a house built by the Handy family back in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And the county bought the farm and ended up, using a lot of it still for farming operation, but we probably have 10 to 15 acres of parking there. We can probably hold a good 5,000 to 7,000 people in any one festival.
Now, a friend of mine has a company which he calls the Eastern Shore Experience, which puts together outdoor activities on the Eastern Shore. What would be the Eastern Shore Experience in your eyes if I was to come to you, Mr. Culver?
The experience?
He does muskrat hunting. He does falconry. He's been doing falconry for over 20 years. The other things. What would you consider the Eastern
Our zoo
Shore?
has a lot of those programs too. Muskrat hunting is a unique.
Well, you're from here, so let's hear about it.
Well, muskrat hunting takes a certain type of individual.
Well, I'm not, is that why you moved here, Mr. Miller? For the
Muskrat,
muskrat
that's,
hunting?
other reasons.
Okay.
We find it a delicacy, so it is very good, but you've got to acquire that taste for it. And it's unique in the sense of how it's cooked and how people will season it, that type of thing. But just the word rat in it makes it sound, most people don't want to do it, but it's not like a rat that you would think of. But it's a unique type of hunting where you go out and trap in the marshes and that sort of thing. And it's not easy work. It's very tough work, just as all of our watermen are. We have oyster roasts, we have crab feasts, we have anything to do with seafood, rock festivals, that type of thing, from our rock fishing. So we have a strong but we also have a strong agricultural community here with a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables being grown here. And it's not to mention Purdue Farms with our poultry. So we have a very diverse agricultural and food supply here.
Now, what is the goose hunting still popular here? Does that still draw people from around the world?
Goose hunting is very popular here, all the way from Talbot County down through Somerset County. It's very, very strong, where there are a lot of tours given out, a lot of leadership done, a lot of, how would you say, off-the-grid meetings are done in a goose blind.
Yes.
So you get to sit and
It's
talk
a lot
to
of
somebody.
D.C. lobbyists who have goose hunting
That's
places
true.
out here, that's for
you,
sure.
You work
And
with
duck hunting.
And duck hunting. And so yes, no, it's with the marshes that we have and the waterways that we have, it's a very strong recreation.
So you were born here, you're local town, so
Born.
the Eastern Shore Experience is something you've lived. What does the Eastern Shore Experience mean to you, having moved here from Rhode Island?
I'll tell you, probably the thing I've enjoyed the most is crab picking. That's not something I did growing up. I used to clam chowder and those types of things
Certainly.
in New England, but my wife kind of taught me how to pick crabs, and that's been
Is she from this area?
She is.
Okay.
She's from Salisbury and grew up here, has deep roots here, and I love it here. This is home for us now, and but crab picking is probably the one. And then I enjoy, growing up in Rhode Island. That's certainly a beach type area.
Sure. Oh, yes.
But I never got into different experiences like kayaking and some of the outdoor type activities that are very popular here. So I think that would be part of my Eastern Shore experience too, getting out in the water and then eating crabs.
Let's make this the Sophie's choice for you. Who has better boating, Newport, Rhode Island, or the Eastern Shore of
I'm
Maryland?
going to say the Eastern Shore. I'm sitting
Your
here with the
employer
county
sitting right
executive.
next to you.
Yeah.
Great answer, man.
Well, thank you very much for your time,
Thank you.
gentlemen.
Appreciate
it. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. I, too, look forward to the Eastern Shore Experience. Thank you for joining us. This is Jonathan Yates with the Culture of Sports.